I guess we're having a problem with the camera, so it's time to get the new camera. The camera's deciding when to turn off. I'm sorry for the abruptness on the last video. So we're still up at the top. Got a smudge up there. We're still at the top. These looking inward. I wanted something looking into the top statement of as above, so below, the 7 chakras. And then dipping into the seed. This is a Kokomo glass. I couldn't tell you the number. This is Kokomo. It's beautiful glass. This is Spectrum. Spectrum where it's got the green blends. It's a water glass. This green right here. It's down here into this double border. So we got bullseye here at this green modeled. And whatever this glass is, I've got the same thing coming down as though they're overlapping. As you can see, this overlaps on this seemingly continuum running up. You can't tell. You cannot tell. But the same green I used here is the same green I used up here. So there is some, as we stand back, there's some, it baffles me why I chose the shapes. If I wanted to connect the as above, so below with the seed, I thought about connecting them with an oval. And through the Genesis, a system that I've created based on design, it made it very easy. And then the scarab made sense. And the scarab is holding its baby, or whatever this projection I created all these jewels the same, and I chose an iridized glass for the realization. Can't get an angle to see it, and I'm loving the lights off in my shop so that we can see the beauty depth in the glass, the expression of the enlivened glass. So we'll leave it like this. I'm very visually textural oriented. I'm colorblind, so I rely on other sensory to get me a feeling. So I'm heavy texture. Even this Flemish looking glass here that's champagne, I'm heavy texture. Look at the ice on ice spectrum does when you back off. It electrifies. They really stand out on the cobalt blue. Reason I used cobalt is it's a very royal kind of color, and it's a mystical color. When you put orange next to blue, you cannot focus on it. By the way, folks, if you realize the basis of 3D glasses is one red lens, one blue, and you can't focus on the two, it twists it, and in between that twist, we're going to have this 3D experience. Go figure, colorblind person. I rely on the contrast of other colors to give me the feeling they create between the two. So I love using the darkest. This is Spectrum. I believe that was 136. It's an Arctique. I don't remember my Spectrum colors by number anymore. It's deeper than 134. I believe it's a 136. And it's really a great backdrop. Look at the contrast between this art glass and the cobalt. You want your contrast when you're setting up your color fields, and the interruption of them with the dichroics perfect to interrupt the continuum of the cobalt. But the cobalt, let's back up. Look how important the cobalt plays. I wanted something gold. And I love gold. Yellow is the fastest color to reach your eye. It's the highest frequency. It's operating at the highest megahertz. The golden rays of yellow is the golden rays of the sun. It's the fastest color to reach the human's eyes. Black is the slowest. It's a woofer in synesthesia. Yellow, shrill lime green, and orange red are the neonic or the hot colors. Loud colors. Colors of the sun, selenium, create a very high frequency, the fastest color to reach your eye. Red is not the fastest, yellow is. but it's a shrill yellow. I'm getting it all over the place. So I chose ambers, which is close to orange and yellow. It's in the frequency range. And if you look at all the colors, I chose high frequencies, golds, orange, ambers, interrupted with the dark, to create the contrast. Even in my color blindness, not knowing, I can tell light from dark. Do you see how they stand out? The four appendages? They stand out. Actually, look, as you look down, everything dark is lifted away, or the gold, the lighter colors are lifted away, where the dark is very heavy. So I went into the dots down below. So we've covered the top, high ambers, golds, interrupt with dark, mid dark, not as dark as this or as concentrated. That's wispy, it's a Kokomo. Look close to it. I don't remember the numbers, although I can find out in the future for my own purpose, but I don't know, I guess I could find out and put it in the description. Got to be mindful of this video, I don't want it to end. So as I go down below, I didn't know what to attach the scarab to. The wholeness, fulfillment, the solid. Because the dung beetle is the one that rolls around dung. Nuggets, rolling it around until finally it creates the snow. It's kind of like a snowman, or a snowball, creating the giant, the dung beetle, as you watch it on the History Channel. Again, I'm still fascinated with this ending. I've never done this before in any panel, these, and then let this other border seem to have existed. With the snakes, the cobras, semi-imposed over that border as well. I don't know, it's pillar-esque, it's very Egyptian-esque. The flowers here, this flower was all in my mind. Very fascinating about these little interruptions too. These are only about 1/4 of an inch, 3/8 of an inch wide. The relevance to this piece is incredible. If you, let's see if I can find something. A key. Hopefully use this key to give you an idea. A standard key. Many of these pieces are the size of a dime. Many of them. I would say around 100 of them. So you wouldn't know that unless your hand is in there, or a tennis ball, or some way of comparatives. These are very little. These are smaller than dimes. Every one of them. These, and I don't typically do this type of detail, but it called me to do that. So all ambers above, almost all ambers in some form of gold, amber, orange, somewhere in there, that, and down below we're getting into pinks and the blues. So it's a graduating panel. I didn't want to use these blues up there, but there seems to be an evolution as things go down. I don't know why, I just did what I felt I was supposed to do. And the green is, this is a Kokomo green. This is Ouroboros, what's called a stipple glass. Stipple. This is a Ouroboros. This is a Ouroboros. I love the expression in art glass. Art glass is this type of deal. When you see very expressive glass by the sheet, chances are very good it's an art glass. So I had this image and somebody next to me drawing as I felt I was being talked to, and I expressed what I wanted to the person, and she did a pretty good job. And on another day we would create something different. The cobras are, the left and right represent they're enlightened with the eggs on the head, as though they're eggs. Rebirth, enlightenment, and they're aware of the the underworld, the duality, night and dark, Ra, the sun, and the dark world. They didn't, if you notice, the Egyptians didn't make the darkness go away. They utilized it. Each has its own attributes, the night and the dark. If you're a night person, then you don't come out in the light, and the other way around. It's a balance. You determine which you are and integrate those things yourself. This is 20¼ inches wide by 65½ inches long. 65 is not 6 feet. 60 inches is 5 feet. So it's 5 foot and 5½ inches. It's almost the size of, 5 foot 5½. You get the idea. Or a certain time of life, you're generally that tall. You get the idea. This is dichroic down here on glue chip. You can hardly tell. So this is dichroic on glue chip. And these jewels are smaller than my fingernail. They are very tiny. Kind of hard to tell. This is a wire overlay. I actually take very small copper wire, tin it. In other words, you coat it with a solder, you flux it, and tin it with a very thin so that it patinas well. And then you solder it on there in realistic leaf-esque or vein-esque kind of expressions. Make them irregular, but head them all in that direction. There's no painting on this panel. They're wires. Stained glass doesn't fade. A lot of people ask, is this going to fade because it's in the sun? This is going to be a front door for a lady who's also experienced the other side, miraculously. Who has had a bout with the other side, much like I have, and this scarab is going to mean a lot to her, the sign of rebirth. It's a very mystical window for me in its symbology, especially since I never drew or made anything like this ever in my life. It's kind of hard to talk about. It's not like this is... I've been moving in a spiritual direction, some sort of mystical direction, of course. And but I've never, as the entry, think about it as the portal to your home or business. What would that be like? I would wonder what that would be like as my front door. See the yellow, the golds, whether they're clear or transparent. It's a high frequency. If that's the electricity you want, high frequency, drawing the eye to it whether you like it or not, you're going to need yellows, ambers, oranges, and the contrast, in this case cobalt, and there's no other electricity that you can bypass than the dichroic glass. Wherever you get your source from, or do it yourself, or bought my lesson plan, or somebody you figured it out, or whatever figuring out means, that you're confident now in your abilities to express in dichroic lamination. I'm colorblind nearly 100%. What would I tell you? I can only describe in feeling, not in logic. I'm colorblind. In other words, I don't have the criteria to teach you in a logical sense of what frequency you're seeing, and this is XYZ green. I wouldn't be able to tell you that. Couldn't do it because I'm colorblind in general. My whole world is based on expression and feelings. That's what synesthesia is. It's a sensory overload awareness. The hardest part is taming it. So that's basically the intricacies of the panel. It spoke to me. It designed itself. I was obedient in feeling like it was talking to me. And this is the byproduct. This will be some of the end videos of the door because I'll be taking it out of its frame for it to be thermopane next week. Thermal pane means this panel will now be sandwiched in between two sheets of glass. So whatever photos I need to do, cool angles, need to be done now. They won't exist as closely with the glare of a sheet of glass over it, front and back. So I'm taking this opportunity to really video, picture, all that stuff, because she's going. She will be on a journey to a very special family where the lady too has experienced the other side, as many of you have. Many of you have. And I salute the people, the warriors of life, that have had to get up with a cane, or aspirator, a respirator, and continue the journey. I admire you. And that's in many walks of life. Thank you for watching this journey. I hope to communicate with others. If these videos you feel and want to be connected, I would sure love to talk to you. Especially if you have business aspirations, because I do. Thank you very much for all the kind compliments. I hope they stay that way. A lot of people are very edgy when the God word, the God word gets called, or spirit, or a lot of people get edgy, and I understand the pains associated with it. I have experienced it myself. So I appreciate the people staying in their own lanes. I accept all people who can accept me. I don't like to have to defend myself through argument. I want to cooperate instead of compete. I'm surely coming to the end of my years, and it's coming in many ways. Through my medical records, 3 times in the emergency room in 45 days recently. Have 2 more operations. Can't say they're scheduled, but one on my knee and one on my ankle. I too will be going through the journey again and again in December. So we're on a journey, folks. I want to connect. I want to believe the 6 degrees of separation. Let's talk if this is of interest to you. Email me in the supplied email and we'll get it on. So, I'll be videoing the rest of the process, taking it out of its frame, going outside and using my thing, and perhaps all these processes, something is for you. I'll be building a crate, putting it on a pallet, so this is good information if this is something that you're interested in. Thank you. I'm looking for your help, cooperation, advice, and ideas. And hopefully I can do the same for you. Bye-bye.